Hello, this video is about what the perps have done to my ears. To illustrate before I carry it on, this is my eardrum, this circle here. This is my ear canal, the walls of my ear canal is magnified 200 times. This is some kind of implant which is coming through the walls of my ear canal, which is very near my eardrum. I'll explain what this is. It's hard to see here because the microscope records in a different format that isn't acceptable. I've had to YouTube, I've had to do this. So if you see this, this is metal, definitely. This is my eardrum, and this is metal. I'll explain what's happening. It is a little bit difficult to see here, but on the screen with the microscope, it's definitely very shiny. It's definitely metal. Like I said, this is the video. This is the. I'll just show you a minute or so of this, just so you can get the idea of it. They're abnormal. This is both my ears are implanted. I'm just showing this one for now. Okay, so you get the idea. This is a close-up photo. I'll draw your attention to this protrusion there. It's magnified 200 times. And there, the side of my ear canal, that looks like it should come out, but it doesn't. It won't come out, and there's some kind of a line there at the back. I'll also show you this, which is very interesting. Can you see this here? This bizarre form. Okay, we've got to zoom out again so you can see what's happening in the picture. Just to refresh, this is my eardrum, this silver thing here, and this pinkish stuff is actually black and white camera, I think. That is my walls of my ear canal, and this silver thing here is the actual eardrum. So I'm going to cover a lot in this video, a lot of different issues. People think V2K is microwave hearing. I'm not saying it isn't, but in my situation, I know for a fact it isn't. I know that radio frequencies are used, and for different reasons than people think. They think microwave hearing, everything's microwave hearing, and to me that is, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but it is, look over there, everybody's looking for this complicated system of microwave hearing and wondering how it can be done when it is very simple. The transmissions are done by way of implanting a telecoil material within some part of the auditory system, or even possibly the brain, which is electromagnetic. And that's how the signals are transmitted, electromagnetically. They are using, from what I've experienced, microwaves and radio frequencies to transmit them. But if you look up telecoil in Wikipedia, it's only two metals, copper and iron, and they create an electric field which is sensitive to electromagnetics. And these things are used in hearing aids, the most very, very modern hearing aids, which are completely wireless. Some work on Bluetooth. And these are practically so tiny, it's unbelievable. So it's not going to be beyond the bounds of imagination to imagine that two metals can be compounded together in a way to create the same effect as a telecoil to amplify an electromagnetic field by using these two metals combined in a nanotechnology structure. I'll explain about this. Like I said, I've got a lot to say. These are not the only images you're going to see. So look at that very strange formation in the ear canal. And I'll show you what this actually is. What I've just shown you in that video is the process of self-assembly of nanotechnology. And if you go back and look, you'll see that shape that I was showing you deep within my ear canal, near my eardrum, is self-assembling it's not quite as perfect as this one. This is one that I've retrieved from my ear canal. And it looks like a kind of, it is greatly magnified, I must say that. It's nanotechnology. Not what you'd expect to find in your ear, is it really? This is what I have learned, some kind of nano robot. It has a function. I'm not really sure exactly at this moment what that function is. However, that does look like a bit like an aerial. And it's a perfect circle in the middle. And yeah, there appears to be some kind of a figure there in the background. Yeah. And that's quite common. Again, this talk's quite involved, but I'm not going to get that involved. So you know for now that this is self-assembling nanotechnology. And that nanotechnology, if you're not aware, can self-assemble into very complex structures. So not least structures resembling or working as electromagnetic sensors or receivers or a telecoil. That in the bounds of self-assembling nanotechnology, creating a telecoil, self-assembling telecoil would be very simple. This is another metallic looking object that I've retrieved. It's very big. You can actually see it with the naked eye. But again, this is magnified, and to me it looks like a huge square chunk of metal. Okay, back to the video. This is my eardrum, and this is quite an early picture. Again, both eardrums are affected similarly. Again, this white here is the border to my eardrum, which is my ear canal, and this black thing here is my eardrum. It's black and white, but when you zoom in, this white stuff is the remains of eardrops, which are non-metallic. They don't have any metal base or anything. When you zoom in, and even if they did, why would it be precipitating out? Okay, I'm going to illustrate my point. Right, this is an early video. This is a couple of months ago, and let's filter. See that metal object there? That is embedded in my eardrum. Otherwise, it would have fallen out, wouldn't it? That's the thing with these things, and I'll explain how it's done and why they stay there, why they don't fall out. So that is embedded in my eardrum. The other eardrum is exactly the same. I'll show you. That's the other eardrum. This is a video. I think the other was a still. So again, you have the dark circle, which is the eardrum, the white, which is the canal. There. That is, without a doubt, oh, I'm twirling the camera around to get a better angle. That is the mouthfillet. Shiny metal thing. It catches the light, you see, when you move it. That's why I'm moving the light about in the camera. Sorry to... There you go. That's pretty good still, isn't it? And again, just to refresh, this delineation here is the black is the eardrum, and this is the ear canal. And you'll know if you've been following my videos that the perps have been telling me all along that they're going to make me stone deaf. Indeed, the perp that actually, I'll come to that in a minute, what he did, to clarify, because I have more information now, more knowledge, what he did. Again, the other things very bizarre. I've put my story online. If you've been following it, you'll know that I was approached and by Pat's musician, and one of his email addresses was stonedeaf@so-and-so. One of his other email addresses was 15 kilohertz at so-and-so. A bit strange, really. And shortly after this, beginning in this, I begin to get perps, or hear perps, should I say, as well as see them. And many times the comment "stone deaf" would be shouted at me. This began to happen in the same time period as I begin to get attacked by directed energy weapons. I've got a video online showing my injuries. Undisputable that they are burns. And the situations, I'm trying to keep this reasonably on topic and not go into too much detail on this video about other things. So I will just say that the information is in the videos online about how I was attracted by direct energy weapons. There are pictures of the burns, and I also explained how the excruciating agony of feeling like I had red hot metal within my eardrums and behind my eardrums and behind my TMJ joints happened every time I was burned with these directed energy weapons. And I also say how I was alerted prior to the burning, that they let me know they were going to do it in many different ways. So it's intentional, without a shadow of a doubt. These things don't get in your ear by accident in both ears. Okay, I'll show you more videos. This is a particularly good picture of one of the pieces of metal. Make sense of it. This is my eardrum here at the bottom. It's taken from a different angle. And here is the ear canal at the top. Again, I think that's some sort of ointment that I put in just because I'm in so much pain. So that is the eardrum there. This is from a side angle. And you can clearly see the metal stub protruding from the ear canal. That should fall out. If that was just in the eardrum, it should fall out in the ear, should I say. It's embedded there. And I will show you how it was done, and I will show you some more evidence. This is the eardrum there, and this is the ear. What has actually happened here is that you see all this silver stuff. Well, it appears to be silver. It's metallic. I'll just zoom in a little bit more. Remember, that is the eardrum, the silver bits, yeah, with the little nano thing forming there. And there are other nano things there as well, but to keep just to what I'm saying for the moment, I'll say that what is happening here is that I added a substance known to precipitate metals, and it's not harmful to human tissue. And this is what has happened. I've known all along that I've been implanted with metals. I didn't know how it was done. I do now. And basically what's happened is the metal has precipitated. This is the eardrum, okay? So all the metal that is behind and in the tissues. Very strange thing there. Again, this is greatly amplified. Greatly magnified. That's the word. So the metal is precipitated from the tissues where it was put into. I'll explain how that was done in a minute. And you can see it because it's precipitated out into its salt through using chemicals. So you can actually see it now. What I've always known and always felt, and what the perps have been telling me, they're going to make me stone deaf, and they're burning me with directed energy and letting me know beforehand. What is the result of hitting someone with a microwave or radio frequency ray when they have metal in their eardrum, behind their eardrum, and in their ear canals? It's going to burn, isn't it? It's going to heat up and burn, and that is exactly how I felt. And it was only the ear canals and the side of the face, J joint, the area where the metal had been absorbed, for want of a better word, into the tissues, absorbed into the tissues, and that was being heated up. So their intention in putting these metal within my eardrums and ear canals is to make me deaf, or as I should say, stone deaf, as they said. It gets even worse. So not only, this is one of the strange precipitations. This is, again, this is another photograph. This is my eardrum with the metal that's precipitated out into the eardrum, from the eardrum, with the reagent that I used. And this is the reagent was non-metallized, but it did have a hydroxide group at the end of it, if you know what I'm on about. So, very basic A-level ASA chemistry. So, this is the ear canal. This is the eardrum. Yeah. This is precipitates. Just one of the things. There's many different angles I've used with this otoscope, and that has precipitated out as well. Looks like some kind of a stone. But why is it not falling out? Why is it not falling out? Just about shaking my head about, holding my ear down. Why is it not falling out? Why is it not even moved? Because it is attracted and stuck onto the tissue, because they used a process. That's another picture of the precipitate. They used a process of plasma, iron. They used ion exchange in order to deposit these metal ions within the tissues, and they do that by the black thing at the top, which won't come out, by the way. It's embedded. More metal precipitates. You can see them quite clearly. This is the other ear. Metal precipitate. I'll try and still it. I think I've showed this video. Okay, one moment. How they did it? Well, I'll show you this video. You can watch this. This is an otoscope with a little. It's called an ear tool, an ear spoon for cleaning your ears. So I'm trying to scrape out some of the metal without going too near the eardrum. The picture does get better if you hold on. So how do they do this? How do they put this metal within my ear, behind my eardrums and my ear canals? By ion exchange. So it's metal ions. In order to do that, they have to create an ionic bond. How do they create an ionic bond? They know the bond or the charge of the metal ions. Yeah, again, it will get clearer. I am trying to scrape out some of the metal with the ear spoon. They know the charge of the ionic metal, the ionic charge, the bonds of the metal that they're putting in. So they need to irradiate you, or I should say me, one particular area of your body where they want to deposit this. It's a polymerization, and the people that have done this are chemists. It is the large chemical factory that I reported, and 50 million turnover a year, and they are under the wing of, or they were, Endless, which is a private equity firm from Leeds. The perp, who I suspect helped with this, to do this implantation, the musical Patsy, I'll call him the Patsy, was also from Leeds, where Endless are based. However, I'll go back to the ionization process, veered off there. So how they do it is by irradiating what they want, the part of the body that they want the metal ions to, you can see the black things there, or the metal ions to be attracted to. So it's basically positive and negative. It's similar to how free radicals work. You know, you get free radicals in your body. Nobody wants free radicals in the body because they're so attracted to cells, and they cause so much damage by just whacking around on everything. So this is similar, but these actually bond. So that is why these things here, these protrusions, which are actually precipitates of the ions, of the metals, see them? Why they are bonded to the tissue, and that is where the microwave. Everyone thinks microwave hearing, stuff like that. See that really shiny thing there in the middle? What's that? See it? Yeah, I'll try and steal that. So the everyone thinks it's microwave hearing or whatever, but they use the directed energy, the microwaves, to. This is for people with V2K as well. Very interesting for people with V2K, to irradiate the person. The tissues with microwaves, radio frequencies, and that creates a charge which is opposite to the material ions that they wish to deposit. it's similar to electroplating, if you know how electroplating is done. And that is how they do it. That's what it is. So that's why all the horrible microwaving and stuff is done. And then later on, obviously, in my case, it was done to heat up these deposited metals and to also excite certain what is so-called Morgellons and make the tubes grow, the nanotechnology grow. Yeah, just trying to get that picture there where you can see that glowing thing. There's also been like a glowing, like a kind of a radioactive glowing, which is difficult to film because it's so quick, it sort of dances about. I think it's quicker than the frames per second, I'm not sure. However, right, going back to this, so here's some of the things retrieved. So, with everything that has been done, it's very difficult for people to believe, normal people, to believe that anyone could be so sick that they could do this, go to all this trouble to have intelligent knowledge about chemistry and about wavelengths and irradiation and want to torture somebody in this really sick and hideous way, a large group of people. I've seen that on their faces when they gangster, when they do the stuff they're doing, they're actually enjoying it. And the comments that they make, because they think nobody is going to hear them other than me, they're the sickest things you can imagine. They are trying to get the maximum mileage out of the torture. They could make me go deaf straight away, and they've obviously got the knowledge to do that. But they want to string it out. They want to enjoy it. They want to see me suffer. These people are inhuman, and they exist. And normal people have a very hard time accepting that other people, use the term loosely, with these values and interests in torturing, could exist on such a wide scale and be so familiar to so many people. So it's easier to discredit the victim and say that it's the victim's own problem, it's in their imagination or whatever. Again, this is my eardrum, and one of them, and there's the metal embedded, clear as day, embedded in the eardrum. See it? I've had numerous doctors tell me when the burning first began with the directed energy and I would seek medical help, telling me how inflamed my eardrums and ear canals were. And they were all puzzled there was no infection. Yet why didn't they see this metal? Possibly because this endoscope magnifies 200 times. But you can't tell a doctor that you think you've been implanted with metal. You are set up to be discredited. So that is the eardrum, and that is one of them, the metal, which should have been seen. I think because this metal is deposited as ions, it's very tiny, and the only reason you can see it here quite obviously is that it has been precipitated to come out and to form into clumps. So it should be able to be viewed on an MIR or scan, whereas before you precipitate it in your body, if possible. I don't think it's possible to precipitate in the brain, maybe EDTA, I don't know, but it's not going to be seen because it's in very fine particles. You need some sort of micro analyzer to do that. You know, it's got to look at, it's very, very small. Like the nanotechnology, it's extremely small, unless it's precipitated out. So this is the end of my short talk. I have many other videos, mainly about my targeting and also some remedies or strategies, whatever you want to call them. Again, I'd like to make it clear that a lot of people think it's all this microwave hearing and stuff like that. See that black thing there in the video? It's just, like I said, it's just staying in the ear. It's just protruding from the ear canal. It won't come out. It's right near the eardrum, so you can't really grab it with this thing. So rather than looking at microwave hearing, it's perhaps might be more effective to look at the implantation of nanotechnology via ionization method that could assemble into devices such as similar ones that I've showed you that could function as a kind of a transmitter receiver or a telecoil. The mainstream is kept away from this type of knowledge, but if you just look at such things as mind mapping, if you Google mind mapping, and there's an article in The Guardian online about these things, you'll find out it's very, very advanced. Self-assembly of nanostructures, nanorobots is very, very advanced, especially with regards to biomedical uses, and that does include things for hearing. And also it might be interesting to look at wireless hearing aids and how tiny they are and how they work. They're very simple. How they work is very simple when it's used in a telecoil position on the hearing aid, which it works by amplifying and picking up electromagnetic signals, frequencies. And I'm pretty sure that is how they're doing this so-called V2K, not by microwave. They're doing it by electromagnetics, by implanting electromagnetically reactive substance in the person. Okay, you've got quite a lot to research there, quite a lot of things to think about and to examine. And also I wanted to put my story online to show that what is being done to me by these inverted commas people that just seem to enjoy making people suffer. And I'm pretty sure that this comes from the instigation of doing this. The way it was set in motion comes from the large chemical firm that I reported, and they do have processes which they use for polymerization and for ionizing and things like that, thin film deposition. Okay, thank you. God bless.